having me. So I would like to give you, first of all, a background of my health before I started this vegan journey.
Sure.
So basically, I was suffering from high blood pressure, and as people should know that the high blood pressure is 50%. It's the cause of heart attack and strokes, and this is make 50% of the cause of heart attack and strokes. And when you've got high blood pressure as well, you can suffer from kidney failures, heart failures. You can have problem with your sight, vascular dementia. And I remember even I spent a day and a half in hospital because my blood pressure was too high. And I had headaches every day or every other day. And the headaches were so bad that I had to have some painkillers with me all the time, some paracetamol in my wallet. And I've had lots of dandruffs as well. And for example, if I had to comb my hair, you will see dandruff everywhere. It was so bad. I had some chest pain as well. And what is bizarre is that when I had those chest pain, I had to drink some Coke to calm me down. And I remember one day I was in a shopping center and I had a massive pain in my chest, and I had to find a place where I could buy a bottle of Coke to make it go down. And I had as well some back pain. And I remember even I had a week of work because the pain was so bad. And I had some abscesses every single week. I had to have some abscesses. And my joint was painful as well. And I remember even I had to have some x-ray done because in one of my fingers, it was really swollen. And I had some difficulty to move it. So I had to have some x-ray done. And basically what they did, they just gave me some painkillers. And I had some heartburn as well. So after most meal, I had to have some heartburn, and especially if I was having beans. And I had to see the dentist all the time, practically every month, because with all the sweet stuff that I was eating, the candies, cookies and all that, so I had really lots of problem with my teeth. And my weight was 15 and a half stone. So and my BMI was 32. So if you have a BMI which is more than 30, you are classed as obese. So basically I was obese. So I was eating lots, all kind of food. I was eating animal product, dairy product, processed food, fast food, junk food, anything. And I remember even I was eating until midnight. So at midnight I had to have my bottle of Coke with some biscuits or some cookies and stuff like that. And the symptom that I've had, I was always tired. So on my days, the days that I had to go to work, I had to drag myself out of bed. And on my days off, I was sleeping until 1 in the afternoon because I was so tired. So at night, I was sleeping okay, but it was just in the morning. I had no energy, and most of the time I was out of breath, and especially where I was working. I was working in the basement. I had to climb the stair all the time. And I remember I was always out of breath. And I had always some cold sore. Every 3 months, I would say, I had to have some cold sore. And even if people have to see my picture, I had a very big belly. And it was even difficult for me to start doing my shoelaces. It was really difficult. And I remember as well, I wanted to replay tennis because when I was young, I used to play tennis and I even won a trophy. But with the way I was always tired, my joints were painful, my back was hurting. All the time if I was bending, I had to have my back was hurting and stuff. And I was starting to see a doctor. And basically the doctor told me that I would have to be on medication for the rest of my life. And I remember that time I didn't know anything about the plant-based and all that. But instantly I said, no, I can't have medication for the rest of my life. And I remember he said, because you don't want that, I will have to record the conversation so that if something happened to you, I'm not going to be liable for that. Yeah. And he said, okay, you don't want any medication, so what are you going to do? I said, okay, I will try to do some sport. And I even joined a karate club where I tried to do that. I thought maybe my blood pressure was going down. but nothing happened. I'll still have that. And I remember for my pain, I was just using paracetamol, ibuprofen, or for my heartburns, I was just buying over-the-counter medication. And for my dandruff, I used the anti-dandruff shampoo for nearly 16 years because of that. And for my back, my wife used to massage me with some Chinese vapor rub ointment. It was maybe 2 or 3 times a week because it was so bad. And in 2016, what happened is that I was just watching a program on YouTube. It was by Indian yogi. His name is Sadhguru. And he was talking about how consciously do we eat. And in that program, he was saying that meat was not designed for the human mechanism. And if we wanted to live our life to a highest level, we had to, it was really important to know what we was eating. And if we transition to a plant-based diet, we could reduce 70% of our diseases. So I was watching that on a Wednesday, and I said to my wife, okay, I will stop eating meat. On Thursday, I went to work. I came back, I asked her to cook for me my last meal. And on Friday, I started, and now it's been 5 years. I've not touched any meat product. That's how my journey was.
Wow. What an incredible story. So I'm fascinated by, you've had all of these kind of various health complaints. You've been to a doctor. You've seen this video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did you take much convincing that this was going to be the route that was gonna help you?
No. I just don't know why, but when I watched that video, I was completely convinced that that was the way to go. Because I remember, even when my wife was serving me meat, for example, if she would put maybe 2 or 3 pieces of meat or chicken, instantly I would feel it's like I didn't want to eat anymore. And that's why I told her to just, if she wants to serve me some meat, she will just have to put 1 piece. If she put 2 or 3, my appetite was gone already. So when I watched that program, instantly I knew that that's the way I had to do. That's what I had to do. And when I adopted that, there was a lot of benefit. So first of all, I lost, in that first week, I lost 11 pounds. And within 9 months, I lost 5.5 stone. And basically all the chronic diseases that I've had are completely gone. I remember 4 months into changing my diet, I went to the doctor, and he was really surprised that I had no blood pressure anymore, while he told me that I will be on medication for the rest of my life. And he asked me, why did I do? I said, no, I went vegan. But he just said, okay, that's fine. That's what you're doing. Continue to do that. And I remember even my blood sugar went from 41 to 37. Even if I was eating tons of fruit, my BMI went from 32 to 22. And like I said, all the dandruffs, the headaches, the heartburn, every single thing was gone. And with no medication at all. And for the past 5 years, I've not been sick a single day, not even the cold, the flu, cold, etc. And I've been able to slow down my aging process as well. So when people see me, they think that I am in my late 20s, but I'm actually 51. So,
wow.
Yeah.
You're looking pretty good on it, I must say, Olivier. What was the education process like for you in terms of learning about vegan nutrition? Because obviously you were convinced that it was the way to go, but I imagine you had to find out exactly how to eat and how to look after yourself. What was that process like?
Yeah, the process. So when I watched that video, I was really intrigued, and especially when I saw that after a week I lost 11 pounds. And suddenly I started to have a lot of energy. It was not a problem for me to wake up in the morning anymore. And now I'm starting to read lots of books. For example, I read the book from How Not to Die from Dr. Mark Greger. I read the book Your Health Journey from Dr. Fred Bishi. I read the God Awakening Diet by a guy called Anis. I read again another book, Timeless Secret of Health and Regeneration by Andrea Moritz. And I'm starting to watch a lot of documentary like Conspiracy, What's the Health, and I'm starting really to go deep into it. So any book that I was talking about the plant-based, I was watching that. There's even a guy who is a raw vegan. His name is Lauren Lockman. I've been watching him a lot, or Dr. Furman. So I really was going through that path. That's how I build up all my knowledge.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got an absolute treasure trove of knowledge in those books you mentioned there. There's some fabulous ones. I'm fascinated by this kind of like process of learning. You know, you've learned all this amazing knowledge, but I suppose, was there, you know, thinking about where your diet was before, where you're talking heavily processed, lots of sugar, lots of animal products. Was this like a cold turkey, forgive the non-vegan pun, but was this kind of like a purely cut out on that Friday morning? Was it just, no, you know, I'm going to eat purely fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, the whole work straight away? Or was there a bit of processed food to eliminate over the course of time that was still kind of vegan, but you know, not so good for you?
No, I went cold turkey. I went cold turkey because the way I am, when I take a decision, I have to abide to it. So when I said to my wife that I will stop eating meat, I said, Thursday, cook me my last meal, and on on Friday, I went cold turkey. So I stopped everything, the milk, the dairy product, the processed food, every single thing I stopped on that Friday. And that's why, for example, for that week, I had a lot of detox symptoms. For example, I had for 3 days some massive headaches. I had more cold sore. My joint aches a little, even more than before. I had more abscesses. So, and that's why you will see that a lot of people, when they do that, they will, when they see all these detox symptoms, they will say, okay, no, I'm missing my meat protein and stuff like that, and they will stop. But for me, I was so determined to go ahead that I didn't even look at it. And I remember even my wife was scared. She said, no, maybe you have to stop. I said, no, because I took that decision, I will go ahead. And after a week, everything went back to normal. Yeah, so I went cold turkey straight away.
What? Yeah. Amazing stuff. What did your kind of friends, families, you know, your co-workers, people like that say when you know, seeing you go from before where you wanted this bottle of Coke every so often because you weren't feeling great, to kind of, you know, watching this transformation? You know, what was their view when you said, well, it's because I'm vegan now?
Yeah, so apart from my wife and my kids and my brother, I think all my extended family, my friends, and friends and stuff, they didn't support me, basically. Yeah, there are lots of criticism, especially because I lost a lot of weight. They told me that I look sickly. It was not good. Men should be bulky, should be big. I don't look nice anymore. And even some people even told me that they thought that I was HIV positive because I lost so much weight. But I said to them, okay, some of them even started to discourage me. They said, no, you have to stop what you're doing. It's not good. Maybe all the diseases that you've got, all the chronic diseases that you've got will get worse and stuff. I said, no, the way I feel, it's great. And it's you who will have to get used to see me thin like this, because there's no way I'm going back to that. So I persisted, and today they can see all the benefit, and some of them try to implement a little bit of this. Yeah, but at the beginning, it was really, really difficult. And if I was not strong to my position, I would have gone back to eating meat. Or even when you go to see friends, family and friends, they don't even know what to serve you. Or if you go to a restaurant, there's not many choices. So it was a little bit, it was not a little bit, but it was really challenging. But because I took that decision, I said, that's the way I'm going to do, and no one is going to change my mind. That's how it was, yeah.
Yeah, more power to you. Thinking about that period of time, 2016 to 2021, there's obviously in this last 5 years, there's been a sort of explosion in vegan products, if you like, on the shelves. There's been a lot more processed, a lot more fast food kind of options in the vegan community, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What's your view of those as somebody who's really tackled veganism from a nutritional standpoint and really captured sort of control over your health? What's your view of this kind of like, this processed food that's kind of creeping into the world of veganism? Do you see it as having a place, or is it something that you hold at arm's length?
Yeah. So what I can say for that is that if you treat that as a transition food at the beginning, that's not a problem. But if that's what you have to eat day in, day out, I don't think that it's a good option, because at the end of the day, even if they are vegan, they are still processed food. And the human mechanism works on electrical. We need electricity for our body to work. We need microelectricity. And we can only have microelectricity from live food, which is fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seeds. But if we have to eat all this processed food, they are dead food. They can't give you the vitality or the energy that you need. So if you have to use that just as a transition food, that's okay. Or if you can use that as a treat, then that's okay. But if you have to eat that day in, day out, you will be sick. And that's not the good way to go. And that's why I can see there are a lot of unhealthy vegans, because that's mostly what they eat. They like lots of processed food. Even if you go on, I've got on my Facebook, I'm in a vegan group, and you see they keep posting processed food. So I don't think that that's a good idea if you have to go ahead with just eating processed food, even if they are vegan. You need really to eat all food. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about going back to this journey of 5 years, at what point did you decide, do you know what, I'm going to tell other people this story? I'm going to become, because now you're a successful public speaker, you're an author, you haven't kept this story to yourself. You could have done. No one would have blamed you for taking all the health benefits and carrying on as you were. But what kind of made you think, do you know what, this has got to be something I share with others?
Yeah. I think it was in 2018, after all the transformation that I saw. I saw that normally people think that it's normal that you get sick with age. When I started, I was 46. So as the years was passing by, my health was getting better. So I said that, no, I need to share this wisdom. I need to share the knowledge that I've got, because it's not normal that people have to be sick. It's not normal. It's possible to live a disease-free life. And it's in 2018, I started to speak to, before that, I was getting all the knowledge. And after that, in 2018, I decided to start sharing my knowledge. I went to some local churches. I starting to speak to my friends. I starting to go to some local venues to try and share the message. And it's in 2019 that I decided that now I just want this to be now my way of living, to become a public speaker and to basically live from that. Yeah. So I didn't want to keep all the knowledge for me, because people don't understand how it is to not be sick. It's possible not to be sick. And just if you eat the food designed for the human mechanism, you keep your pH in alkaline state, it's basically impossible for you to be sick. And like I said, I've not been sick for a single day for 5 years. But I remember before that, every single year I had to have the flu 2 or 3 times a year. But now it's completely gone. So even when I was working at my old work, when people were having the flu, I was always the only one who didn't have that.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this alkalinity, the kind of pH level of foods, and what what that kind of means. I imagine there's a lot of people, even if they've been on the vegan journey for some time, who are listening to this thinking, I've heard a little bit about this kind of alkalinity and, you know, I should eat alkaline, etc., but I don't really know what that means. Could you sort of expand a little bit on that?
Yes. So basically, you've got different types of food. You've got the food that make the body alkaline and the food that make the body acidic. And the pH, the neutral, it's around 7.35. That's the neutral. And when you eat the food like fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain nuts, and seeds, it makes your blood alkaline, which means that it will be difficult for the pathogen to develop in that kind of environment. But when you eat things like dairy product, processed food, meat product and stuff, your pH in your blood will go down. And when it goes down, basically what will happen is that the pathogen will be able to live in that kind of environment, because your blood will not be able to circulate the oxygen. And in an environment where there's less oxygen, there's a place where you will have the cancer cells and all that will be able to thrive. So what you have to do is that you need to eat the food which will make your blood alkaline, instead of eating those one which will make your blood acidic, because the pathogen only developed in an acidic body. So what you eat is really, really important.
I see. So essentially, as close as you can get to the whole food, as close as you can get to the original source, the better. Yeah,
the better. Because like I've just said, our body needs microelectricity, and we need microelectricity for the body to work in an optimal way. And why do... when you will see that all these food, they are live food. Why do I call them live food? For example, if you look at a green banana, if you leave it there, after a couple of days, it's become yellow. If that banana doesn't get eaten, after a week or 10 days, then the rotting process starts. So you will see that the banana is living. It was green, it became yellow, and after a bit, the rotting process starts. But when you look at animal product, as soon as the animal dies, the rotting process starts immediately, which means that it's dead food. Or for example, you cannot take a piece of chocolate, you put that in the soil and expect a tree to grow. No, because these are dead food. So we got living bodies. How can you feed a living body with dead food? It doesn't make any sense. You need to give your body living food. And this living food have got life energy. And that will sustain you. So you need always to try and eat as much as possible live food. That's what you have to do if you want to be in good health.
I see. Makes sense. At the beginning of your journey, when you were talking about some of these sources of knowledge that you kind of came across, you talked about coming across kind of raw veganism.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, and how raw veganism kind of can benefit your health, and if there are any pitfalls to it as well.
Yeah. Like I said, you need to eat as much as possible the raw food, because in raw food you've got live enzymes. And when you've got live enzymes, first of all, your body will not spend much energy to produce enzyme, because when you eat cooked food, your body needs to produce live enzymes to be able to digest the food. But when you eat raw food, you've already got all these live enzymes. And it's very easy as well for your body to digest raw food. So it's always better to eat raw food. And that's why, for example, for me, like I said, I only eat twice a day, at 12 and at 7. That's usually what I do. So in a week, I've got 14 meals. And out of those 14 meals, 11 are raw. I only eat 3 cooked meals just because of that. So I just want my body to spend less energy digesting food and not to produce enzymes to digest the food. So when you eat raw food, basically it's a better. So you need to eat as much raw food as possible. That's what you have to do. Yeah.
I see. Would you mind talking us through like a typical kind of day's nutrition for you? I'm fascinated to know what it kind of looks like.
Yeah. So what I do, like I said, I only eat twice a day. And why do I need eat twice a day? It's because I do what is called intermittent fasting. But I do that differently for other people. Other people, what they do, they will fast for 16 hours and they will eat for a window of 8 hours. But for me, I only eat twice a day, and in between, I don't eat no snack. Just if I have to drink, maybe just water, that's it. And why do I do that? It's because we spend 80% of our energy to digest the food. So if you're grazing all day long, even if you are eating plant-based, if you are grazing all day long, your body will keep digesting all the time, and you will always spend that 80% of energy. And your body can only heal and repair when it's not digesting food. That's why I spend my time not eating, unless it's at 12 and at 7. And I eat raw, like I said, just to have all these live enzymes. And at midnight, sorry, what I'm saying, at 12 o'clock, I only eat fruit. It's only fruit. Every day at 12, it's only fruit. The diversity of fruit. Maybe it can be banana, pears, apples, and stuff like that. And at night, on the day that I'm not eating cooked food, I will eat again fruit with some salad. And the salad will have maybe some lettuce, tomatoes, cucumber, onions, and stuff like that. So the only day where I eat cooked food, it's Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So the other days, fruit always at 12, at 12 noon, and at night it's either cooked food or fruit with a salad. That's how I eat.
Amazing. Yeah. And the typical kind of cooked meals, what do they kind of look like?
Yeah, for the cooked meals, for example, I can have some quinoa with beans and spinach. I can have some brown rice with mushrooms and courgette, or some aubergine, or some chickpeas, lentils, tofu, tempeh. So I just try to vary really what I eat. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it sounds incredibly healthy. Not a processed food in sight. I love it.
No, I really don't eat processed food. For example, this month I've had only ice cream, vegan ice cream, only once, one cone of ice cream. So that's the processed food that I've been able to eat all this month.
That was it.
Yes, and I think maybe one burger. Obviously a vegan burger. I've done that myself. It's not that yeah. That's all I've eaten. So I really eat little of processed food.
How about the role of things like caffeine? You know, I mean, as a society, we're quite, you know, I know personally I'm quite heavily caffeinated a lot of the time, and I often wonder about its detrimental impact upon my health. So I'd love to get your view on kind of where caffeine can fit into a diet, or whether it should at all.
Yeah, so caffeine, it's classes in the group because we've got 3 different types of food. If you have to look at on the, I would say, spiritual level, you've got the sentient food, which are the fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed. And you've got the mutated food, which are chocolate, coffee, tea, and stuff like that. They create restlessness. And they are not good for the mind, but they may or may not be good for the body, but definitely not for the mind. So, and on the physical level, if you look at the coffee, for example, it will dehydrate your body. It's going to dehydrate your body. And what will happen when your body is dehydrated, it's going to have an effect, a diuretic effect. So it's going to make you pee a lot. And this is not good for your body. So, for example, for me, I don't touch coffee. That's a no-go. No coffee in my life, because I don't want to make my body in that state. And when you drink that as well, it's going to have an impact on your liver. So that's not something that I can advise someone to take it.
Olivier, I've got some work to do, clearly.
Definitely.
I'd love to hear a little bit about the story of the book. What kind of made you write a book, and where did you get the inspiration from?
Yes, the inspiration, it's only, like I said before, because the transformation that I went through, the weight that I've lost, and the health benefits that I've been able to reap for this change, I thought, yes, I can go and speak to people, but the best thing will be to put that on in a book, so that people can have that all over the world, and that will be the best way, one of the best way as well, to be able to share what I've been able to uncover during my all this process. So in the book, basically what I'm talking about is I try to show the specific diet of the human beings. I show that the adverse effect of the animal product, the dairy product, the processed food, and I speak in that book because people keep saying that human beings are omnivores. But in the book, I try to show people that we are omnivores. We are not omnivores, we are herbivores, and specifically frugivores. I show that in the book, and then I speak about my transformation, the process that I went through, and I speak about how the medical establishment deal with the disease. And then at the end of the book, I give a lot of steps that if people can follow that, they will be able to transform their lives. Just an example, for example, vegans, they use the microwave. Most people use the microwave. But what people have to understand is that when you put the food in the microwave and you press the start button, the molecule forming that food will start moving at an incredible speed. And that movement will create a friction, and the friction will create the heat. So when you get your food out, they will be cooked or hot. But what people don't know is that the molecular structure of the food will be completely destroyed. So you might as well eat cardboard. And when you eat microwave food, you're going to suffer from cataract, cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, reproductive disorders, and the list goes on. So simple things like that I've said in my book, that people can really transform their lives.
So just simply from using the microwave. So
yes,
just because of this molecular structure of the food changing.
Yeah, it's completely changed. Yeah.
Wow.
So there are lots of stuff like that people can change. For example, the water that people drink. You need to filter your water, because in the water you've got lots of chlorine and lots of fluoride. And people say that the fluoride is good for your teeth. No, the fluoride is not good for the teeth. The fluoride is a poison. The fluoride is a poison. It will, for example, if a rodent, it's the fluoride, it's going to kill them. Or in the toothpaste, they put fluoride. But for example, the advice that I give people, if they want to use the toothpaste, they need to use the one which is fluoride free. So, for example, just using to be able to filter your water, this will have an impact on your system, because when you look, you will see that our body is 72% water. So we need water. And the quality of your water will have a bigger impact in your life. So you need to start filtering your tap water, because it's not safe.
And what does that filtering process look like? I mean, are we talking standard filters you buy off the supermarket shelf?
Yes, the one that I've got, it's called, the name is pH Recharge. I bought it from Amazon. Yeah, from Amazon. It's got 3 filters inside. And you just put the water inside, and there's like a tap when you can take the water. But other people as well, they use reverse osmosis, which is you can put that under your tap, and this is even better. And I'm thinking of maybe upgrading to that kind of filter. Yeah, but this is
that's kind
really
of like
important.
a built into your tap solution.
Yeah. Or for example, when I have a bath, I've bought the end of the shower thing.
The shower heads, yeah.
The shower head. You can buy a shower head with a filter inside, because you can see that our bodies absorb all the water. That when you have a shower, your body is your skin will absorb the water, and the water that we use have got a lot of chlorine and fluoride. So if you buy that shower head with a filter inside, then that's something good as well that people can do.
Yeah, great top tips. I love them. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd love to go back to this point about omnivores, herbivores, and frugivores.
Yeah.
And just for folks who don't know, it'd be good to sort of hear a little bit about, the thinking behind this idea that we're not actually omnivores at all. That in fact we're not even really herbivores. We're frugivores. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah. When we look, for example, you take a look at carnivores, you will see that they've got 2% canines. The incisors are short and the molar are practically not developed, because carnivores, they've only got one movement in their jaws. They can only cut and swallow. They don't chew their food. So if you pay attention, you look at a cat, a dog, you will see that they can only swallow. But when you look at herbivores, they have to cut and chew their food. And when you look at us human beings, we have to cut and chew our food just like herbivores. So in this instance, you can see the similitude between human beings and herbivores. And yet, if you look at carnivores as well, if they want to drink water, they lick up the water. But herbivores, they soak up the water. And this is exactly what we human beings we do. We soak up the water just like herbivores. So again, here you can see the similitude between human beings and herbivores. And when you look at carnivores as well, they pant. And that's the way for them to regulate the temperature. But herbivores, they sweat through their skin. And this is exactly what we human beings we do. We sweat through our skin. Again, another resemblance between human beings and herbivores. And when you look at carnivores as well, they've got the gestation period is 15 weeks or less. So for example, for a wolf to have cubs, it's going to take 9 weeks. For a cheetah, it's 13 weeks, and for a lion, it's 15 weeks. But when you look at big herbivores, the gestation period is 34 weeks or more. For example, a cow, to have a calf, it's going to take 40 weeks. For a horse, it's 47 weeks. For a giraffe, it's 60 weeks. And for the human beings, it's 40 weeks. Again, the human beings falls in the category of big herbivores and not carnivores. So you can see that carnivores, they've got a shorter gestation period and multiple births. So for example, a lioness will have multiple cubs in one go. And when those cubs are born, they are blind. They will start seeing after a week or 2 weeks. But when you look at big herbivores, they've got single birth. For example, a cow will have one calf, an elephant will have one calf, and when those calves are born, they are not blind, they can see straight away. And when we look at us human beings, we've got single birth as well, rarely twins, and when our babies are born, they can see straight away just like herbivores. And as well, you will see that for carnivores, because when we eat meat, it gets transformed into uric acid. And that's why you will see that carnivores, they've got very powerful kidneys so that they can get rid of that uric acid. But for us human beings, we haven't got that powerful kidneys. And there's an enzyme which is called ptyalin. That enzyme enables the digestive process to start in the mouth region. And only human beings and herbivores have got that. No carnivores have got that enzyme. So again, here you can see the similitude between human beings and herbivores. And when you look at carnivores as well, you will see that the gastric acid in the stomach, it's 20 times stronger than human beings. Because like I said, carnivores, they've only got one movement in their jaws. They can only cut and swallow. So they have to have powerful stomach acid to be able to digest the food, the bones, and all that. But for us human beings, we can only digest 20% of the meat. And if you look, for example, at the gorilla, we share 99% of the same DNA. But what do gorilla eat? They eat fruit, vegetables, and tender roots. They do not eat meat. So how come we share 99% of the same DNA, which means that our digestive tract are practically the same, but gorilla do not eat meat? So from that, you can really see that human beings, they have got nothing in common with carnivores. Nothing in common. We are herbivores and especially frugivores. And another example that I can give. For example, let's say they put you in a very big enclosure. They put you with a goat inside, the live goat. Okay? They tell you that you will stay in that enclosure. They give you no tools. And they say that for 2 weeks, You will stay in that enclosure and that goat will be your food. I'm sure if we come back after 2 weeks, you'll be starving to death. Because with your bare hands, you're not going to be able to kill that goat. You're not going to be able to eat it. Which means that we are not designed to eat meat. But you do the same experiment, you put a tiger inside, it's going to be a feast for him. So we are not biologically designed to eat meat. Definitely.
It makes perfect sense. When you lay it out like that, it's like it just appears perfectly obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, but people keep saying that we are omnivores. We are not. And even when you look at the digestive tract, you will see that carnivores, they've got very short intestines. And herbivores have got very long intestine. And when you look at us human beings, we've got long intestine, which are 9 meters or 27 feet long. And why do we have very long intestine and carnivores have short intestine? Is because when you look at the meat, let's say, for example, you eat fruit. It takes between 3 and 4 hours to pass through a system. If you eat raw vegetables, it takes between around 12 hours to pass through a system. If you eat cooked vegetables, it takes between 24 and 30 hours to pass through a system. But if you eat meat, fish, or chicken, it takes 72 hours or 3 days to pass through a system. So meat passes through the system very slowly. That's why carnivores have got very short intestine, which are roughly 3 times the length of their bodies. But fruit and vegetables pass through the system very quickly. That's why human beings and herbivores have got longer intestine. And usually herbivores, their intestine are 6 times the length of their bodies. So we are completely different from carnivores. There's nothing in common.
Specifically for folks who don't perhaps know quite the distinction, so a frugivore versus a herbivore, what's the difference there, and why, in your view, would humans be classed as specifically a frugivore over, you mentioned there, like a gorilla that might be more considered a herbivore?
No, I think a gorilla falls in the category of a frugivore as well.
A frugivore.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you look at the difference between frugivores and herbivores, is that the herbivores, they entirely eat grass or foliage and stuff like that. And usually you will see that they've got maybe 3 or 4 stomachs or something like that. But for us human beings, we are the primary source of fuel for a human being is fruit. And then we can add some tender leaves. For example, if you have to eat kale or broccoli, it's really hard for the human system to digest that. That's why we have, it's better to when it's cooked. But if you have to eat the lettuce, it's really tender. That's fine, and that's usually what the gorilla eat: tender roots or tender leaves, and mostly fruit. So our diet for the human mechanism is mostly fruit, because that's the fuel, the primary source of fuel for the human mechanism.
It makes perfect sense. I'd love to get your perspective on organic food versus kind of the sort of the shop bought fruit and vegetables. You know, is organic food something that, in your advice, would be your advice for a optimal kind of diet?
Yeah, definitely. The organic is better, because with the organic, they don't use pesticide, they don't use herbicide, they don't use all these things. They let the fruit grow normally, naturally, instead of putting lots of stuff so that it can grow very quickly, and then they can sell it. So definitely the organic fruit is the best option always. But if you're not able to buy the organic, then you can buy the normal fruit, which is a lot better than eating animal product. So because not being able to afford organic fruit doesn't have to deter you from going into this plant-based diet. If you cannot afford the organic fruit, just buy the normal fruit. I'm sure with the wisdom or the intelligence that the human body has got, somewhere or another, your body will be able to get rid of most of these toxins. Yeah. So definitely organic is the first choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Olivier, for folks who are sort of transitioning over, and perhaps finding it kind of a little tough. I imagine in your line of work, you speak to a lot of people who are in exactly this space. What's your kind of advice for those people who haven't perhaps got the same fortitude you had to almost overnight decide that's it for me? What's your advice on that transitional period?
Yeah, what I usually advise people is not to go cold turkey like me. Yeah, I don't advise people to do that because if you have been eating really, really bad, if you go cold turkey, you will have lots of bad symptoms because that's how the human mechanism gets rid of all these toxins. It will make you sick. And usually when you've got all these detox symptoms, it's really, really counterintuitive to go and buy some over-counter medication that you can take to stop these symptoms. No, that's why if I have to advise people is to go step by step. So, for example, instead of eating meat 7 days in a week, maybe they can start doing 5 days. And then maybe after 3 weeks or a month, they can go down to 3 days. So they can go little steps. Or, for example, if they are used to have milk every day, for example, milk, they can get the plant-based milk, for example, they can do that choice. And even if you go to some shop like Tesco or Morrison, you'll be able to find some nice plant-based dairy product. For example, the cheese, but which was made from plant. You can have those alternatives. Or if you still want to continue, but you can still decrease those stuffs. And for example, for the processed food, instead, for example, of buying a can of beans, just try to cook that yourself. So you can implement small changes like that, and over time, it's going to build over, and you will see that your health will be transformed. So definitely, I will ask people to go step by steps. Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. But Olivier, it's been a fascinating chat with you. I've learned an awful lot. For folks who would love to get in touch with you, and I'm sure there'll be many, or maybe pick up a copy of the book, where do they go about going?
Yeah, if they want to know more about me, they can go on my website, which is oliviermankondo.com. That's oliviermankondo.com, where they will be able, if they want, they can have a look at my online weight loss and wellness program. They can have a look at it. They can, if they want to buy my book, they can go on Amazon. It's on Amazon. They can buy that over there. And they can as well, if they want to know more about all my knowledge, they can go on my YouTube channel. I speak about all these stuffs, about the plant-based, about the diseases, like, for example, the constipation, about the diabetes, high blood pressure. I speak, there's lots of videos that I've done that people can watch, and they will be able to increase their knowledge.
Amazing. Well, I'll put some links in the show notes as well for folks to hopefully direct them towards you. But yeah, like I say, Olivier, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real education for me.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.